And sometimes that will become, I don't know if you've, I do this in front of our church periodically to keep their heads on straight about friendships, because people can get goofy about friendships. So there's these like acquaintances. These are people whose names you know, hi Fred, hi Alice, all this kind of stuff. And then there are actually your friends, and then there's your inner circle friends. Your inner circle friends that you talk to or email almost every day, and you hang with them, and they're, all right? What we're talking about is at least moving some of these people to acquaintanceship range, hopefully even into friendship range. We're not asking these relationally intelligent people to add another 15 people or 20 people a year to their inner circle. Just friends is good. And I don't hesitate of saying to people at Willow, if you don't have time to make any friends, I think you're too busy. The stats in the United States are just shameful, Average person in the United States watches 4 hours of television a day, is online 5 hours a day on the web. You're like, really? Get off the web an hour and go talk to somebody. And people need challenges like that. So challenge them. When we survey our congregation, which we do periodically, and we say, what do you most want from the teaching at Willow? We just ask the congregation, what do you most want from the teaching? They say, we would like the Bible to be taught and explained in a relevant way. And you know what the next thing that they want? They want to be challenged at the highest of levels. Willow loves to be challenged. And most churches want to be challenged more than you challenge them. And when you develop a congregation with an appetite for challenge, that's fun. When we do the seed packing, we're very concerned about global poverty. And so instead of sending food to some of our partners, we send seeds so they can all grow gardens in their backyard and so. But these seeds come in bulk form. They have to be packaged in smaller little packages so that they can be transported. So every year we pack 500,000 of these seed packs. So I stand up in front of the congregation and I go, all right, seed packing time coming up in 2 weeks, okay? Then I give them a little biblical explanation of God's heart toward the poor and how our heart ought to be more like his heart, et cetera, et cetera. And then I say, so what we need from all of you is 2 hours of your time to pack seeds. And so I fully expect that all of you are going to make this time available, right? And most people are shaking their heads, and some people are, blowing their nose and looking at their shoes and stuff. And I said, now for those of you who are blowing your nose and looking at your shoes, just going to say to you, if you're too busy to pack seeds for the poor for 2 hours, you're too busy. Cancel something. Cancel something. And it gets this quiet at Willow. I go, you hear me? And they go, yup. I go, okay, do the right thing now. Right. But then when they cancel something and they come and they pack seeds and worship music's playing, there's thousands of people around and it's all a joyful thing and all that, then they email me and they go, man, thanks for the high challenge. I'm so glad that I cut a meeting. I took 2 hours off another assignment and came over and did. I'm so happy that I did. Challenge people to do the right thing. They'll bless you forever. Okay, more questions on, I was going to come back to you if you still did it.
I moved on a bit. I did have a question about the elders. You were given the guideline for the leadership transition book, but is there any general type of book or training that you give to your elders so that they can be the most effective elders?
No, we have our own internal What we do whenever we add elders is we take our 3 most veteran elders, and they do the sort of like the elder training for the new group that's coming in. Right. But we don't have a big curriculum on it or anything.
Or a book that you're aware
No,
of?
we don't.
Okay.
We should, but we don't. We're too busy packing seeds. Yeah, we're doing the right thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I think one of the challenges that we find here, and I'm sure it's quite prevalent in the West as well, is attracting men to church. I know we've done a survey of our church recently, and we're 60-40 with women obviously at the 60%. What is that the same in Willow? Be interested to hear that, number one. And number two, if so, what do you guys do in terms of intentionally trying to target men and build strong men in the church?
Yeah. Well, the trend that you mentioned is certainly a growing concern of churches in the United States, and in some parts of the world, it's just embarrassing. You know, it's like a women's club. Okay. So I think there has to be a call to men. And I think there has to be enough men's ministry kinds of activities around the church where the pastor can call the guys out and say, hey, we're doing something. We need 100 guys to show up for this volunteer thing that we're doing. Women not allowed. You know, I mean, we love you. You're not allowed. And, okay, I think unless you challenge men and have some activities for them, they're going to be an ever-dwindling part of your congregation. Now, you say, well, you know, God doesn't care, does he? Well, you know, he cares in that when a father is not engaged in the church, what happens is when the kids hit junior high, the kids look at mom and they say, hey, you can go to church. Dad's not going, I'm not going. And that's kind of how it goes. The way we say it at Willow is when we can win a dad to Christ, we're likely to win the whole family to Christ. If we win a woman, well, you know, great. That's wonderful. She's going to have a hard time winning her husband and her boys. And so we shoot for everybody, but we make a real special effort. This is another thing that I think pastors who are men, we have a lot of women pastors. We have women pastors on our staff and have them all over the U.S. Good thing. But men want to be called out by other men. So call them out. And do guys things. You know, yourself. You know, think of something, rehab something and say, hey, I need 12 guys to help me volunteer, you know, to help me to do this thing that I'm going to do. And call the guys out, they'll respond. If you don't call them out, they won't. Okay. More questions? Yes?
I have one question. I no doubt you are great. No doubt you're a great preacher. Okay. And I also bought some of your books and use your books in the ministries. One of the books is called The Axiom, but it has been translated to Chinese. Is that
which book is it? Axiom, yeah.
Axiom.
Yep.
Okay. So it's a Chinese book. I get the feeling it must be translated in Taiwan. Okay. I have been using these 76 lessons.
Yeah.
And to a group of men.
Yeah.
In both Hong Kong and Guangzhou.
Yeah.
In the size of the group, there are only about 10 to 20 men. Okay, so altogether, I'm talking about could be 20 to 40 men I have taught. I use your book. Would that be an offense to you to add some biblical verses? Because I cannot find some Bible, the verses in the Bible in your book.
Yeah.
So what I was doing is in fact, I have modified some of the lessons in the book because some of the translation is not right to the point.
Yeah.
So I modify it to the Hong Kong use and also to Guangzhou use, and also add in some biblical verses to make it more complete.
Yep.
So in a way, I have done the whole book. Will that be a right thing to do? I return these copyrights to you, and then and then you make your own book, because I was thinking that I'm not a great preacher.
Yeah.
If I publish a book by myself, it will not be sellable.
Yeah.
So if say,
But if we co-authored it,
okay, so probably
could be awesome.
My question is that be an offense to you if I add value added to your preaching, and also to improve it to the local church use?
Yeah.
So
Okay, I have several responses, as you might imagine. First of all, that book, I don't know how many of you are aware of it, Axiom. I wrote that because I think one of the greatest things you can do for your staff and for your church is to create what I call a leadership culture, which needs a leadership language. So it's hard to build a church unless you're all talking the same language. It's hard to build a leadership culture unless you're always talking the same language. So I wrote, are there 76 of them? 76. I wrote 76 chapters, if you will, about concepts that I believe strongly in with regard to leadership. You've heard some of them today, although I didn't number them. But what we do at Willow is we make all of our new staff read the book Axiom, and then all new staff have to spend 2 hours with me talking about which axioms they really are enthusiastic about and which axioms they would like to challenge. And just say, I don't necessarily agree with that one. Why did you write it? Okay? We make it mandatory. You cannot be hired at our church unless you've gone through the book Axiom. Now, we do this primarily so that people will all start talking the same language. All right. To the brother's point, it is true, some of my leadership axioms do not have a specific Bible address that you can credibly attach to a place in the New Testament, because the Bible doesn't speak directly to some of the leadership issues in a local church. But what I do when I'm challenged along these lines is I refer everybody to Acts 20, verse 20. The Apostle Paul said in Acts 20, verse 20, I have never shrunk back, I have never hesitated to give you anything that is profitable. I've never hesitated to give you anything that is profitable. He didn't say, hey, unless I could do a chapter in a verse, hey, I can't I can't help you in any way. He goes, anything that I've learned along the way that I think will be profitable for you, I'm going to include it and cause you to think about it. So, for example, one of the axioms in that book is finish well. Finish well. So we have several hundred people on our paid staff, and they've all read Axiom. And every once in a while, I stand up in front of the staff and I say, hey, you're all only going to be here for a season, and then your season's going to end. You're going to take another ministry. The Holy Spirit's going to move you. You're going to get hit by a bus, whatever. But, something's going to, I'm not here forever. You're not here forever. Now, when it comes time that God is moving you on, I'm asking you to finish well.